Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And with permission, I would like to make a statement on the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. We are now 239 days into the operation President Putin planned to conclude within a month. Active Ukrainian offensive operations continue in the northeast, near Sept and the Kherson region in the south. If Ukraine successfully advances on Savatov, a key road and rail junction, it will constitute another severe blow to the logistical viability of the northern sector of Russia's Donbas front. Yesterday, the new Russian commander in Ukraine, General Sergei Surovikin, offered an unusual and candid public statement of the difficulty of the Russian position in Kherson on the right bank of the Dnieper River. Pro-Russian occupation forces have now started to withdraw from some categories of civilian east of the river. They claim 7,000 people have already departed and aim to move another 10,000 a day, though we cannot yet verify those figures. Russia's limited hold on the bank of the Dnieper looks shaky. They are likely more seriously considering a drawdown of their forces in the area. Russia's ground campaign is being reversed. It is running out of modern long-range missiles, and its military hierarchy is floundering. They are struggling to find junior officers to lead the rank and file. Meanwhile, their latest overall commander has a 30-year record of thuggery marked even by the standards of the Russian army. What will worry President Putin is the open criticism is inching closer and closer to the political leadership of his country. Russia has strong-armed Belarus into facilitating its disastrous war, but the newly announced Russian-Belarusian group of forces supposedly to be deployed in Belarus is unlikely to be a credible offensive force. It is far more likely that Russia is attempting to divert Ukrainian forces from their successful counter-offensives. As Russia's forces are pushed back, they are resorting to directly striking Ukraine's critical national infrastructure, especially the power grid. It should be noted that these facilities have no direct military role, but the impact is multiplying the misery of ordinary Ukrainian citizens. Notably, these strikes are partially being conducted by loitering munitions, so-called kamikaze drones. Despite Tehran's denials, these weapons are being provided by Iran. This in itself is another sign of the strategic degradation of Russia's military. In wake of these ongoing and indiscriminate attacks on civilian infrastructure, the UK will continue and is continuing to gift air defence missiles to Ukraine. We are proud to be the second largest donor of military equipment, and last week I announced the UK will be providing an additional air defence missiles to Ukraine to defend against Russian missile strikes. These include AMRAAM air-to-air missiles, which, used in conjunction with NASAM's air defence pledged by the United States, are capable of shooting down cruise missiles. We continue to provide sophisticated electronic warfare equipment which gives additional protection against long-range drones and missiles. Supporting Ukraine remains the Ministry of Defence's main effort. We are helping Ukraine replenish their stocks to keep us fighting, and as winter approaches, we're developing a package of support to support Ukrainians through the winter, including 25,000 sets of winter clothing, so they are more effective on the battlefield than their poorly trained, badly prepared and ill-equipped Russian counterparts, many of whom have been mobilised at short notice with little training, equipment or preparation. As part of Operation Interflex, we are also continuing to train Ukrainian recruits in the United Kingdom alongside our Canadian, Danish, Dutch, Finnish, Lithuanian, New Zealand, Norwegian and Swedish partners. We have so far trained over 7,000 soldiers and are currently on track to 10,000 by the end of the year, with up to 20,000 to follow in the year 2023. Furthermore, we have worked with allies and partners to establish an international fund which will ensure continued supply of essential, lethal and non-lethal military support to Ukraine, as well as manufacturing capacity. To date, we have received pledges totalling approximately £600 million and continue to work with international partners to secure further funding. Today, we will launch the first urgent bidding round to identify and procure critical capabilities which can be rapidly deployed to Ukraine. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I would also like to share with the House details of a recent incident which occurred in international airspace over the Black Sea. On the 29th of September, an unarmed RAF RC-135 rivet joint, a civilian I-Star aircraft on routine patrol over the Black Sea, was interacted with by two Russian armed Su-27 fighter aircraft. It is not unusual for aircraft to be shadowed, and this day was no different. During that interaction, however, it transpired that one of the Su-27 aircraft released a missile in the vicinity of the RAF rivet joint beyond visual range. The total time of the interaction between the Russian aircraft and the rivet joint was approximately 90 minutes. The patrol completed and the aircraft returned to its base. In light of this potentially dangerous engagement, I have communicated my concerns directly to my Russian counterpart, Defence Minister Shoigu, and the Chief of Defence Staff in Moscow, and has done so. My colleague, the Chief of Defence Staff, has also communicated his concerns. In my letter, I made clear that the aircraft was unarmed in international airspace and following a pre-notified flight path. I felt it was prudent to suspend these patrols until a response was received by the Russian state. The reply by the Russian Minister of Defence on the 10th of October stated that they have conducted an investigation into the circumstances of the incident and stated it was a technical malfunction of the Su-27 fighter. They also acknowledged that the incident took place in international airspace. The UK Ministry of Defence has shared this information with allies, and after consultation I have restarted routine patrols, but this time escorted by fighter aircraft. Everything we do is considered and calibrated with regard to ongoing conflict in the region and in accordance with international law. We welcome Russia's acknowledgement that this was an international airspace, and the UK has conducted regular sorties of the RAF rivet joint in international airspace over the Black Sea since 2019, and we will continue to do so. For security reasons, I will not provide further commentary of detail of these operations. But I want to assure the House that this incident will not prevent the United Kingdom's support for Ukraine and resistance to Russia's illegal invasion. The UK government's position remains unchanged, with consistent support, I am pleased, from across the House. We will continue to support the Ukrainian people defend their homeland and the rules-based system. It has protected all nations from such naked and unprovoked aggression over the last 75 years, and it was also helped shaped by Russia in that time. And this government will always defend it because these rules-based systems are fundamental to who we are, and it provides peace and security for this country and our partners and allies. I commend the statement to the House.
Luke Pollard.